I'd like to express my joy of being in Taiwan again. It is always very nice to be in a modern city where you have roads named after harmony and peace, and also kindness and compassion. The title of the teaching is Return to Normal. I think that is a Siddhartha intense marketing strategy. Because what is normal? A normal for some people, it's chaos for others. And the idea, the definition of normalcy or normality keeps on changing. Now, I know some of you probably has much better things to do since this is a very long holidays, right? 3 days, I was told. So probably some of you may just want to be here for like 10 minutes, which is fine, very welcome. So before you take off, I want to just tell you one thing that probably is a key to be normal. And once you hear this, please go and have good time. I'm definitely not going to tell you, like how to pray or how to meditate, or I'm not even going to tell you to do positive thinking. And I'm definitely not going to definitely not going to tell you to think of sunrise or, rainbow or stuff like that. All I want you to do is just be aware of this moment, this nowness. It's not complicated at all. And you don't even have to sit straight. You can actually, if you want to continue to do this later, you can even do this while walking around. And I'm not asking you to invoke some sort of a special thought and dwell in it. All I'm asking you is to be conscious or to be aware of what's happening now. And it could be something very, very ordinary and mundane. So let's just do this for a few moments. That's it. That's all I'm asking. And if you have the appetite to do this, and I think you should, I'm asking you to do this every day at least once. Can't get more normal than this. And there's no other better way to achieve the normality than this. And this is now more relevant than ever, because we in the 20th century, 2020, we are not even a citizen anymore, citizen of a nation anymore. Oh, I'm sure you have a Taiwanese passport, some have, Japanese passport, French passport, but Actually, we treat each other not as a citizen anymore. We just look at others as a consumer. And since we have been forced to be a consumer, and we also volunteer ourselves to be consumer, we forget to be normal. Okay, so those who don't want to continue, this is it. And don't tell me you don't have time for this one. You have plenty of time to browse your Facebook or whatever, just few moments. Okay. Now, I was born in a place called Bhutan. And unlike many of you, I wasn't born in a hospital. I was born amidst lots of bamboos and lot of lavender. And Bhutan, as some of you may know, is a landlocked country. And as a citizen or a consumer from a landlocked country, we have a different psyche, which I'm not going to explain too much. Basically, you live in a small sort of a territory, and you have two big neighbors breathing down all the time. Yes, so I grew up. Yeah, you can maybe not really jungle, but I definitely grew up in a forest, and I used to know a lot about. Relatively speaking, I used to know a little bit about forest. I knew what kind of mushrooms you can eat and what kind of mushrooms you should avoid. But some of this knowledge now is gone, because most of the mushrooms that I eat is from 7-Eleven and other things. I think I'm good at making fire still. I'm good at making fire. But there's not so much place to make fire now. At the age of around 6 or 7, I was taken away from my family. Actually, I was sold. I was bought, I was sold for, I think, about 5 NT. I'm not exaggerating, this is true. And there is a reason for this. In the Himalayas, as many of you know, the culture believes in, recognizing reincarnation and so on and so forth. So when I was really having a really good time actually it's like a subtropical place among the elephants, rhinoceros, and big python snakes. Some people turn up one day, some strangers turn up, and they said, you are reincarnation of some person. It's a bit like if some Austrian come to you and say, hey, you have to go to Austria because you are Mozart's incarnation. Anyway, I was sold for such a cheap rate, not because my family had 7 children, including me. I guess for my family, it was sort of an honor. But that money or whatever, that fare or that price was important. It is actually in the custom that when the child is given to the whoever is taking away, they will give the prize. This is to symbolize the family have no more say. It is the property or the commodity belong to someone else. Anyway, yes, that was the end of being with my family. So I don't have photo that has a complete my family all together. Never. There's always me missing most of the time. Anyway, once I left, I was made to study things that were written 2,500 years ago. And in fact, I have to say, after half a century, I am still studying things that were written 2,500 years ago. Now, what I studied and what I'm still studying has been named by not named by other people, They named it Buddhism. It's very, very interesting. And actually, it gets more complicated. I think gradually other people, especially Westerners, they begin to categorize what I study as a religion or as a spiritual. Anyway, you can say that I am thoroughly brainwashed and influenced and, yes, brainwashed by this so-called Buddhism. And today, I have come to a conclusion that there's only one man who really is right, and everything what he said, he's the only one that is right, and his name is Siddhartha or Gautama Buddha. Of course, no, I'm not only saying he's right in the technique of meditation. He's right with everything. He's right with economy. He's right with science, leadership, politics, relationship, parenting. Only he is right. So this is how I think. I'm totally brainwashed, you can say that. Like, as we go on, we can discuss this more. Now, I'm a human being. I'm not saying this to prove that I'm partially AI. The studies I have done, called Buddhism, believes that there is so many intelligence, like not just us human beings, there's so many other intelligence that exists, like infinite direction and infinite spaces. It talks about millions of planets, and some of these planets have interesting intelligence and beings. Anyway, to make it more comprehensible, Buddhism teaches about 5, 6 different planets, sort of groups of beings. Well, we just happen to be what the Buddhists call human beings, human realm. I don't think I am an animal. Well, I have address, and I don't have sex with my mother. And I don't think I'm God. I have ups and downs. The gods, I was told that gods don't have these ups and downs. And I don't have clairvoyance. Anyway, I don't wish to have one. Just imagine if I know even partially what goes on inside your head. I'm not so sure whether I am partially ghost or not. In certain Buddhist point of view, every beings are kind of a ghost. But I think when we talk about a ghost, we are talking about a certain category of beings. I don't think I am 100% that kind of ghost. Because even though my life is so uncertain, it's still, there's still a bit of a certainty. Many times, I'm familiar with some of you people here. Like, when I meet some of you, my friends, I recognize you. And the same person I see this morning, and if I see this afternoon, I will assume that it's the same beings. So I think I'm not a ghost. So I'm a human. And not only I'm a human, I have been educated and taught and influenced to think that I'm a man. So if I need to go to pee, I have confidence to go to the gents. I don't think I belong to what they call a fluid generation, fluidity generation. I envy them. I wish I have this, I envy them partly because you have this curiosity. What one feels if you are wearing a bra? I am stuck as a man. And as a man, I was told that men are social animal. I'm not like a polar bear who lives alone. So I like interaction, and I'm sure a lot of you do too.
诸位大概很多人也这样子。
And interaction is highly interacting with other human beings is interaction or socializing, I guess. Socializing is supposed to help us develop emotional stability. It is also supposed to make us flexible, emotionally flexible. But as many of you know, what helps us, what makes us flexible, what makes us stable, can also do the opposite. And the list goes on. I have been educated and influenced to think that I'm a Bhutanese and I'm a Buddhist. Now we are here to talk about, normalcy or normality. Now, 2,500 years ago, Buddha said, you are your own master. Who else can be your master? This is really important, that such kind of a thinking exists 2,500 years ago. Long before democracy is even conceived. But to be master of oneself is, I think, wish of everyone. Now, more than ever, people want to be master of themselves. We want to be in control. And well, actually, not only we want to be in control of ourselves, we also like to control others. And in order to sort of achieve that state of being master for oneself, we apply all kinds of methods. We try to be cool. We want others to think that we are cool. And in the process of interacting with others or socializing with others, we actually also end up becoming the victim of others. Not only we become the victim of others, we actually become a victim of the act of socializing, the activity itself. We are so afraid of being lonely. We are very bored. We are so afraid of being bored. And we are so afraid of being left out. And we spend so much time answering and communicating through all kinds of, platform. So, art of being alone, art of loving to be, art of loving boredom that are taught, not just in Buddhism actually, in many of the ancient wisdom, we are not even interested. This means that we are trying so hard to fit in. We try to fit into a certain class of societies, and we also send our kids to schools so that they will fit in to certain society. We read different kinds of books, we watch news, we listen to podcasts so that we will be better equipped to fit in or to be not left out. So in the process, we change. In the process, gradually, meaning of meaning changes. Meaning of meaning. Definition of benchmark, yardsticks, definition of legitimacy, definition of accountability. All this keeps on changing. I'll give you a good example. Just a few days ago, I got up extra hours early to finish my daily Buddhist, meditation and so on and so forth, so that I can catch debate between Trump and, what's his name? Biden. And I get emotionally engaged when one of them misbehaves. And when one of the other one fumbles, my hand sweats. Isn't it amazing? A man who was born amidst the lavender and the bamboos have now reached to this level, that this man worries about the fate of United States. So much changes in our life, our values, everything, the way we see things. I grew up in India watching voluptuous Indian girls dancing in Bollywood. Now the Indian elites, girls, are trying to look like toothpick, all just to fit in, all so that we will not be left out. Bhutan's national game, sport, is archery. But I worry more about Barcelona football team. I even know the names of the Barcelona football players. And I think I used to remember even their birthdays. So as I was saying, many of you send your kids to different places. And I know it's all meant for their goodness, because you don't want your kids to be left out. And I'm sure many of your kids will have sweaty hand in 50 years later when they were watching another presidential debate. There's so much changes. How we tell stories, how many of you and the way we dress, and how you call yourself name. Jennifer is sitting right in front of me. Chris is translating for me. Sorry. This is how we change. When I was a kid, by the way, I have a lot of names. When I was a kid, I think my grandmother gave me name Lepo. My father's father, Dujom Rinpoche, gave me two names. One is called Tsangpa Hlai Meto, which means the flower of heaven. I guess people, maybe my immediate family may have thought it was too girlish to have a name like that. So he then gave me another name called Kensen Norbu. And Sake Trizin gave me a name. And that's called Jamyang Tuden Chuji Jaso. Yeah. There are many more, there are so many others, other names. Probably 60. But anyway, Lepo, my grandmother's name, one that she gave me, is Lepo. And Lepo means the idiot. And when my families, when they were very loving to me, it's always the Lepo. And my father, and also others, when they're a little annoyed with me, especially my father, Kensen Norbu. So the preferred name is idiot. And there are a lot of Bhutanese whose name, my sister, by the way, is Lemo, means the female idiot. And many, many Bhutanese, my generations, have this kind of names. But I think in about 20 to 30 years' time, in about 20 years' time, Bhutanese kids will sue their parents for giving this kind of name, for emotional damage. Because many Bhutanese will, and many youngsters, many young Bhutanese who is now sent to Ivy Leagues and other, they will be then finish watching maybe about 20 presidential debates. No, not 20, how many? About 5. 5, right. 5 presidential debates. And by then they will learn how to feel emotionally damaged. But this is very mundane. Who cares? Culture is something that always evolves. But there are a few serious ones that we should pay attention to. For instance, one that always bugs me. It always bugs me whenever people categorize Buddhism into department of a spiritualism, spiritual. Buddhism as a spiritual. Buddhism is not spiritual. First of all, the English word, the spiritual, is very deeply, deeply rooted into Christian, history. I don't think Buddhists even believe in spirits. It's almost like, just imagine, in 100 years' time, computer science or biology department of MIT is categorized as a study of cult. But I think this is very, very these are the things that we should pay attention, because these kind of things happens very subtly. For example, even this thing seems to be happening even within the Chinese society. Many people, I feel, many Chinese seems to think that Buddhism is to make you better person. No, Buddhism is not to make you better person. Of course, Buddhism is not to make a bad person. Of course not. If you become a better person, for Buddhism, it's sort of a side bonus. It's a bit like if you buy a laptop, a charger comes with it. But you don't go to a computer shop and only buy charger. I feel that many times my Chinese friends, they seem to think that to be a Buddhist is really aiming to become a better person. Buddhism is not necessarily also, Buddhism is not it's not a path to engage in social service. I would be more happy if somebody say, Buddhism is preparation to go to Amitabha Ram. That to me is more better. So just like in Chinese society, to be a Buddhist means to be a better person, Now, in the modern world, especially in the West, Buddhism is sort of synonymous to mindfulness, meditation, so on and so forth. Anyway, I'm telling you this just as some sort of a background, because, we are supposed to talk about normalcy, normality. And I think it's really important that we are aware of cultural conditioning. I suppose this time many of you may have think, 2020 pandemic, things have become not normal, right? But this is a very gross not normal. We can easily or soon get out of this kind of abnormality. But there is inherent abnormality. Well, I should not say the inherent. Just we have to be aware. We have to be really cautious about, loss of normality at all times. Anyway, when we talk about return to normal, there is a sense of nostalgia. There is a sense of going back to the past. I don't know whether that is possible. And even if it is possible, I don't know whether it is a right thing to do. Maybe it's not really a good idea. Maybe it is also good to be visionary and, think ahead, think of a long term. For instance, the earth that we live on is really it's being overly used and abused. And it seems that the abnormality of the environment seems to be coming very fast. And when that happens, probably, wearing mask and washing hand may not do much. But here in Buddhism, even being obsessed about the future is maybe not the best thing to do. So, going back to what is the best way to really achieve normality or the normal state? And according to Buddhism, to be master of oneself. We have to we have to be in control of our life. Okay, now this leads to a far bigger questions. When we talk about, I should be control of myself. Who is this I? Identity. Identity is very, very complex. Identity is very abstract. There is a lot of assumptions about what is I. We have feelings. Who is it that is actually feeling? We are scared. Who is it that is being scared? We are insecure. We are longing for success. Who is it that is doing all that? Religious people trust in God. Who is it that is trusting the God? Non-religious people or modern people, let's say, feel alienated. As I said earlier, lonely, bored. we get depressed, we are anxious. Who is it that is being depressed? Religious people, whenever they feel insecure, whenever they are scared, they go to church, they go to temple. Generally, whenever we are bored, whenever we are lonely, whenever we are scared, I don't know, we do all sorts of things. We try to get a diploma, we try to get a job, we try to generate a career. Yes, we go to shopping. And there's just so much identity crisis. Many times very subtle, other times very obvious. We make statements because there's an identity crisis. Fashion statement, hairstyle statement, a perfume, length of skirts. All this is to create identity, to create an assurance of identity. Okay, so let's ask the Buddhists, what is self? Now, classic Buddhists will say something like form is emptiness, emptiness is form, form is not other than the emptiness, emptiness is not other than the form. Equivalent to that is something like style is emptiness, emptiness is style, emptiness is not other than the style, style is not other than the emptiness. But that's like so abstract. What does that mean? So let us try to decipher this. And I think that is important because we are trying to really achieve some sort of a state of normalcy. But maybe we take a break, like 15 to 20 minutes break.